Joining us now, Senior Fellow for Middle East and African Studies at the Council on Foreign Relations, Stephen Cook. So give us a little bit more about what I was just asking here. Why would the U.S. break with decades of precedent and reach out to Hamas?
Well, that's precisely what President Trump has promised to do, which is essentially break the mold. The indirect negotiations were not producing results. President Trump would like to get the Americans back. He's also stated he'd like to get all the Israelis back. And this was an effort to sort of break through the Gordian knot here, though despite the kind of optimism that Buller came out of the meeting, there really wasn't a tremendous amount of progress. The Hamas has offered something that it has offered over and over again for many years, which is a 5 to 10 year ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. That's a non-starter for the Israelis, who are not looking for deals, but are looking to get their people back, and then ultimately to change the security environment for them, and that means continuing to pound away at Hamas.
How much is Israel a part of these negotiations any longer, or is Donald Trump just trying to do what he's doing with Ukraine, which is get involved and be the one to broker the peace? I mean, we talk about this. It has become something of a given now that he has his eyes on a Nobel Prize.
Yeah, I think if I was an Israeli official, I'd be very, very concerned that I was getting cut out of these negotiations, which is why, despite the Israelis very much unhappy about the fact that Buller had these direct talks with Hamas, Israelis are going to Doha and will be there when Steve Witkoff, who is the primary Middle East negotiator for the Trump administration, will be there, perhaps in an effort to protect their equities. It certainly is the case that President Trump is less concerned about Israeli sensitivities about talking to Hamas than getting some sort of deal. This is something that was likely to happen anyway. I think the people who in Israel and Israel's supporters around the world who thought that President Trump was going to support the Israelis to the hilt misread what the situation really is. And that is, as I said, President Trump is mostly interested in a deal and doesn't necessarily share the kind of ideological affinity for Israel that his predecessor did.
You know, if they were listening to you on this program, they would have had some skepticism, as you've been pointing out. Stage 2 of this ceasefire, does it look like we're ever going to get there?
No, it doesn't look like we're going to get there. And the Israeli negotiators are there in an effort to extend phase 1. And that is what the Israelis are trying to do, both on the ground in Gaza as well as through these negotiations, is to pressure Hamas into agreeing to extending phase 1. Phase 2 has become something that Prime Minister Netanyahu can't possibly move into for fear that members of his government will bolt the government and bring down his government. So it's sort of a kabuki dance. It's a question of semantics. They will negotiate further, but they won't call it phase 2, and they won't discuss a termination of the war, which are red lines for Prime Minister Netanyahu's coalition partners and, quite frankly, even members of his own party.
What's going to happen to the hostages?
That is the ongoing question, and it strikes me that without some sort of significant change, both in the Israeli political situation as well as with regard to Hamas, which has also moved the goalposts over many, many months here, those people, those who are alive, will remain in captivity, unfortunately.
All right, Stephen Cook, really good to have you. Thank you, as always.